The White House is denying that President Trump signed that alleged birthday message to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. Democratic lawmakers released the letter, which features a drawing of a woman's body. Scott MacFarlane joins me now. Scott, catch us up on where all this is.
The White House repeated its denials that the president was the sketcher of the sketch, the drawer of the drawing, the writer of the note, and the signer of the signature we saw from that image released yesterday by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee.
Even though that signature bears resemblance to signatures of that era from Donald Trump.
We've seen a lot of that pushback from those who have gone through the signatures over the last 20 years, trying to mix and match what they see in that image with what they've seen in other images. But the White House press secretary took that on head on today, saying it's the most famous signature or one of the most famous signatures in the world. Also, the press secretary was asked about how would this have originated if it's not an authentic note and an authentic signature. This would have had to have been planted many years ago by somebody knowing this may be useful in the future. I think the
projecting far in advance that Donald Trump, then a real estate mogul in New York, and someone of his own renown, would someday become president, and this would become a political issue. How could that happen?
I think most fundamentally, though, Major, having this dialogue, having this back and forth is not the phrase, not the topic that Trump administration wants to be on. This is not the political terrain they want to walk upon.
Hence the president saying today it's a dead issue. But it's only a dead issue if everyone agrees it's a dead issue, and even some Republicans in the House and a couple in the Senate think it's not a dead issue.
I was waiting to see, and checking with our sources in the Democratic caucus and the House side, if they were going to try to roll out more of what they thought was illuminating in that document dump Monday night to keep this moving forward, and they didn't take that opportunity to spotlight anything and try to get a second bite at that apple politically. But it doesn't mean that there isn't more to be done for Democrats or for those who want more transparency on the Epstein files based on what they saw from the Epstein estate Monday.
Scott MacFarlane, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, sir.